What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandra Ferdinando. Let's now take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Prime Minister goes to India, receives warm welcome at the Tirupati airport. Central Bank says foreign reserves will go up to $3 billion by next week. Punish those involved in the sugar scam, calls mount from the National Freedom Front. JBP and SJB take to the streets against the rising cost of living. JBP responds to SLFP's remarks on a possible alliance. Will the payment be made to the Chinese fertilizer company? Court order to be issued on January 6th. Lanka paddy farmers given coconut fertilizer.
First up in news here at home, the 77th International Civil Aviation Day was held under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today.
The 77th International Civil Aviation Day was held at the Civil Aviation Authority today. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa visited the exhibition, which showcased the creations made by innovators on civil aviation. Prominent figures who have rendered great services to the civil aviation industry were recognized at the event. The International Civil Aviation Organization was established in 1944 after the Chicago Convention for the Regulation and Coordination of Aviation was signed by 26 nations. Sri Lanka became a member of the organization on the 1st of June in 1948, and the ICAO currently has a membership of 193 countries.
Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa left for India on a two-day pilgrimage to the temple city of Tirupati earlier today.
Indian media reported that the Sri Lankan Premier was accorded a warm welcome by the officials of the Chittoor district administration on his arrival at the Tirupati airport. The Sri Lankan Premier will reach Tirumalai by road and will halt for the night on the hills. Indian media reported that accompanied by his family members, Mahinda Rajapaksa will offer prayers at the Tirumalai temple on Friday morning.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa visited the St. Joseph's Home for the Elders in Tammittanigambo. MP Kavinda Jayawardena had organised Christmas celebrations at the Elders' Home. The opposition leader engaged in a friendly conversation with residents during the occasion.
We must always try to celebrate Christmas with feelings of happiness, brotherhood and in harmony. We wish the Catholics and Christians of our country a happy and a prosperous Christmas.
The central bank says Sri Lanka's foreign exchange reserves will remain above $3 billion by the end of the year.
The central bank has said it expects about $2 billion in foreign currency inflows in the near term. This includes swap facilities with Middle Eastern and other regional central banks. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka said the foreign exchange facilities negotiated during high-level overseas visits are progressing well. It said the incentive offered to attract workers' remittances and the requirement for exporters to convert their earnings will help in building up official reserves. The central bank said inflows to the country are expected to improve with the growth in tourist arrivals and the recent rise in departures for foreign employment. It noted that the Sri Lankan economy showed resilience throughout the year.
The Samagi Jana Balavega has organized a series of protests demanding the government to reduce the cost of fuel and other essential items.
The Samik Jana Balawege had organised a protest in Balapitiya in Galle today. The party's organiser for Balapitiya, Kamal Jayanta, was among those present.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna staged protests in multiple areas demanding relief for the people as the cost of living continued to mount. A protest was held at the Maharagama town with the participation of JVP General Secretary Tilvin Silva. A protest was held opposing the rising cost of living at the Kiribatgoda town. Another protest was held at the Anuradhapura town, demanding the government to reduce fuel prices and to provide relief to the people.
When fuel costs were increased last time, we remember that the General Secretary said that a no-confidence motion will be brought against the Petroleum Minister. Where is the General Secretary today? What is the no-confidence motion that will be brought forward today? The government has lost the confidence of the people.
A protest was staged against the fuel price hike at the Dambulla town. The Janata Vimukti Peramuna responded to the remarks expressed by Sri Lanka Freedom Party General Secretary on the possibility of joining hands with them.
I don't feel it is a new thing for the Sri Lanka Freedom Party to join with the Janata Vimukti Peramuna. We have the necessary strength between us to reach an agreement and form an alliance. The situation today is clear. There are no corrupt politicians, murderers or thieves in our party. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party has become a clean party today. There is a possibility that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, which is much cleaner than before, can join hands with a clean party like the Janata Vimukti Peramuna.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂ වගේ පිරිසුදු පක්ෂයත් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා අනාගතය ගැන ගොඩනගන්න තියෙන ඉඩකඩ තිබෙනවා.
දයාසිරි ජයසේකර ඇමතුමාගේ ප්‍රකාශය පිළිබඳව අපි සතුටු වෙනවා.
We are happy over the remarks made by State Minister Dayasiri Jayasekara. We thank him for that, but we aren't of the stance of forming an alliance with them. We believe that an alliance must be formed with the good people in that party and not join hands with the party itself. When the government finds it difficult to continue, we know that some people are trying of ways to switch sides. The Janata Vimukti Peramuna doesn't have any connection to the two main political parties that contributed to the downfall of this country. We have no links to anyone who served in those governments as ministers and was part of the country's downfall. State Minister Jagat Samaraveera expressed the following views during a media briefing on the tax revenue that were lost due to the sugar and coconut oil scams.
A tax relief of 170 rupees has been given for imported oil used for cooking, but the cost of cooking oil hasn't reduced. The government lost 20 billion rupees in tax revenue through that. The sugar imported at a concessionary rate of 25 cents after reducing it at 49 rupees and 75 cents is now being sold at about 170, 140, 150 or 160 rupees. The racketeers have benefited through that. The government lost tax revenue of 15 billion rupees in revenue through that. They said the losses caused by the central bank bond scam itself amounted to only 12 million rupees. Look at the magnitude of these scams. The price controls were removed as the import tax was granted. We are requesting the Finance Ministry to impose price controls on which tax relief has been granted so that it would benefit the people who are suffering. Don't allow racketeers to benefit through the tax relief. The sugar scam is not a trivial one. 15 billion rupees is spent to provide Samudri concessions annually. Just as they are recovering the losses faced through the central bank bond scam, they must recover those losses faced by this as well. What must be done to do that? Those who were involved in this scam must be brought before the law. The losses must be recovered through them. That is what we are saying.
මේ බදු වංචනිකයන්ව වහාම නීතිය ඉදිරියට පමුණවන්න ඕන ආය කර ගන්න ඕන. කැබිනට් එක මුදල් අමාත්‍යවරයා වෙළඳ අමාත්‍යවරයා ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියන සියලු දෙනාට ඔබතුමායි කියන්නේ. මම කියන්නේ මේකට ගෑවිච්ච අය. මේකේ වන්දිය ගෙවන්න ඕන.
I am referring to those who were involved in this. They must pay compensation. We make decisions about those in the government based on the mandate given by the people. We aren't stooges of anyone. We aren't puppets. As individuals and as a political force, we aren't stooges of anyone. We are the same as individuals and parties.
අතවැසියෝ නෙවෙයි, අන්තේවාසිකයෝ නෙවෙයි. පුද්ගලයෝ හැටියටත් අපි එමයි, පක්ෂයකට අපි එහෙම.
Government MP Jagat Kumara has criticised certain decisions of the government.
There are certain goods that must be sold under a ceiling rate. I cannot understand why that is not being controlled. If the cost is not being controlled, there is no point in paying the officials of the relevant authorities. If prices are increased based on one's whims and fancies, then just as the people say, there is no need for a government.
සමහර විට අර ජනතාව කියන වගේ ආණ්ඩුවක් ඕන වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
අපි දැක්ක මේ උත්සවමාත්‍යාගේ ලේකම්වරයා මේ හතරවෙනි ලේකම්වරයා මේ හිටි කාලය තුර පත් වුණේ. ඇයි මෙහෙම වෙන්නේ?
කවුරු මාරු කරත් වැඩක් නැහැ.
There is no point in changing people if what is required is not fulfilled. There is no point in changing the secretaries if the relief required by the people and if the government can't provide the required strength to the agriculture sector. That must be done.
පුෂ්කර්මාන්තයට අවශ්‍ය ශක්තිය දෙන්න ආණ්ඩුවට බැරි වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා ඒ කාර්යය කරන්න ඕන.
Welcome back. Continuing in more local news, State Minister Lanka says farmers are committing a punishable offence by throwing away fertilizer offered free of charge.
State Minister Nalaka Godaheva declared open a project to develop the pavement and the drainage system near the Maharagama Vidyalaya junction as part of the urban development program.
I saw that farmers who received liquid fertilizer are throwing it away, saying it releases a bad odor. Most organic fertilizer is manufactured using animal manure. That is why it releases a bad odor. This has not been manufactured using fragrant substances. If they want perfume, they can buy perfume. They are throwing away fertilizer like an act of bravery. Is that a good thing? What are they throwing? Whose money are they wasting? It is being given free to them using public funds. Isn't it a crime if someone throws at least a can? It is a punishable offence.
While the State Minister has expressed such remarks, farmers lament that the fertilizer shortage has affected their lives.
මේ උඩ ඉඳ දෙයිවත් මේවා පේන්නේ නැතුද දන්නේ මේවා. රටෙන් භාගයක් ඉල්ලන්නේ නැහැ නේ අපි. පොහොර ටික දැන් තමයි අපි කියන්නේ.
Vegetable cultivation of farmers of Uwa Paranagama have been destroyed by pests.
මේ දවස්වල රැකියාවකටවත් යන්න නැහැ. ඒකින්ද අපි මේ ගොවිතැන් කළොත් මොකක් හරි කරන්නම් කියලා හිටියේ. මේ කැරට් ගලවන කාලෙත් හරි මේ බලන්න මේ ලෙඩ ඔක්කොටම ලෙඩ ඇදිලා තියෙන්නේ මේ.
Paddy farmers of Hasalaka in Kandy, who have been badly battered by the fertilizer shortage, have purchased coconut fertilizer for 1,800 rupees. They had bought the fertilizer out of desperation, although it won't have much of an impact on their crops.
There is no one at the Agriculture Department to complain to. There is no one from the farmers associations. Farmers are feeling lost. That is why we are applying salt as fertilizer. The land will be ruined for the next season.
The vehicle that distributed fertilizer in the village had displayed a sign that read, quote, Agrarian Services, Essential Fertilizer Transport Services, Agriculture Ministry, unquote.
ප්‍රයිවට් කම්පැනි එකකින් කරලා තමයි දෙන්නේ. ඔයාලා කොහොමද මේ ගෝයන සේවකේ බෝඩ් එක දාගන්නේ? ගෝයන්ට සේවයක් නේ කරන්නේ. ඒකින්ද ගෝයන් සේවා කියලා මේ ඒකේ පොහොර ප්‍රවාහන කියලා විදාලා තියෙනවා.
The court order on People's Bank and the local agent for Chinese organic fertilizer preventing payment for the rejected fertilizer shipment was extended to the 6th of January next year. The Colombo Commercial High Court ruled that the order on whether or not the interim order will be lifted will be made on the 6th of January 2022. Legal action was filed with the Colombo Commercial High Court after tests confirmed the presence of pathogen in the shipment of Chinese organic fertilizer exported by Qingdao Sevin Biotech Group. The cases were filed by Colombo Commercial Fertilizer and and Ceylon Fertilizer Company. The order was made by the Colombo Commercial High Court, preventing the payment via letters of credit to the local agent of Qingdao Seabin Biotech Group. The case was called up in the presence of Justices Pradeep Hettiarachchi and Priyantha Fernando. China's Qingdao Seabin Biotech Group has demanded $8 million in compensation from Sri Lanka, including production and shipping costs, and has moved to Singapore for arbitration. Qingdao Seabin Biotech Group, the Chinese organic fertilizer manufacturer, said that the tests conducted by SGS Testing and Control Services in Singapore confirmed that the product does not contain any pathogens, including Erwinia. China's Qingdao Seabin Biotech Group said the test results will be used in its arbitration case.
The island-wide strike launched by the Government Medical Officers Association entered its third day today. The strike had been launched against the transfers of medical officers.
Patients visiting state hospitals have been heavily affected by the ongoing strike by healthcare workers. Certain clinics at the Kandy National Hospital were kept open today. Some doctors had reported to work during the day. Patients who visited the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital were affected due to the strike that entered its third day today. Our correspondents reported that medical clinics for children and diabetic patients in the OPD were closed. The strike launched by medical officers has also affected patients who visited hospitals in the Polonnaruwa district.
Health trade unions in the Sabaragamu province launched a token strike today and engaged in a protest at the Ratnapura town. The Government Nursing Officers Union, the Joint Council of Professions Supplementary to Medicine and several other trade unions have joined the strike, citing several demands relating to allowances and promotions. We will launch a continuous strike to end our protests. If a solution is not given to us, we will go to Jaffna and then to Anuradhapura and Colombo next week. We will reach Colombo and then launch a continuous strike. We wish to inform Sanjeeva, Kehelia and the government about this. The Railway Superintendents Union says it will launch a strike from today. The problems of railway superintendents haven't been resolved. The Transport Minister hasn't even agreed to take steps to repair signal lights that aren't working. That is why we decided to stop freight services from midnight. From midnight today, we will stop issuing tickets except for intercity express trains. We can't issue tickets and create a situation where they have to travel without seats. If a solution isn't provided, we will launch a continuous strike from midnight on the 26th as a sign of protest. The Satyagraha launched by farmers, including those from the Walawa Left Bank United Farmers Organization, is underway. They are demanding the government to implement the gazette on the managed wild elephant reserve. Elephants encroached into our area last night and destroyed thousands of acres of paddy fields. I was fed up at the sight of paddy fields in the morning. We are pleading with the President to create an environment in which we can sleep on our mattresses and beds instead of having to spend our nights on treetops. Wild elephants had destroyed cultivation fields in Katuwewa last night. A protest was staged by obstructing the Balangoda-Veligapala main road, demanding a solution to the problems posed by wild elephants. A 74-year-old father of two had died in a wild elephant attack in Handagiri last night. Villagers had then staged a protest while carrying the remains of the deceased man. This is a patch of land along the Mahaveli River in Velithuduwala Mahiyanganaya. Elephants enter the land from Wasgamuwa and Madroya reserves. Wild elephants that enter the land during the day roam around nearby villages in search of food. Villagers say wild elephants have destroyed about 27 houses this month alone. Wildlife officers took steps to chase away the elephants. Wild elephants that were on the patch of land at that time were chased to Wasgamuwa.
This was the situation at the Tumpane Pradeshiya Sabha today. A tense situation arose during the second reading of the budget that was put forward to resolve the issues faced by the people. After the chairman of the Pradeshiya Sabha left the room, Vice Chairman Upal Kumar Singha took over his seat and attempted to bring the situation under control, but his efforts were futile. Afterwards, the chairman presented the budget to the chamber again. The situation became heated, where the chairman left the chamber, stating that the budget was passed, ignoring requests for a vote. The group contacted the Commissioner of Local Government of the Central Province and explained the situation. Local Government Commissioner Menaka Herat told News First that an investigation is underway into how the budget of the Tumpane Pradeshiya Sabha was passed.
Health authorities confirmed 21 COVID-19 deaths which occurred yesterday.
Sri Lanka's total tally of coronavirus deaths has risen to 14,832. Official figures indicate that 673 new cases were detected yesterday. The country's total tally of infections now stands at 582,067. The number of cases with the Omicron variant in Sri Lanka has risen to 7. 3 cases with the new variant were detected yesterday. Dr. Jude Jayamaha, a virologist from the Medical Research Institute, said the Omicron variant was identified in 3 people who returned from Tanzania and Sudan.
2 studies published from the United Kingdom yesterday showed COVID-19 infections with Omicron are less likely to result in hospitalization compared to the Delta variant. A Scottish paper found that Omicron is associated with a 2/3 reduction in the risk of COVID-19 hospitalization when compared to Delta, while also showing that a booster vaccine offered substantial additional protection against symptomatic infections. The second paper, from England, found there was a 20 to 25% reduction in any attendance at hospital for Omicron compared to Delta, and a 40 to 45% reduction in hospitalization lasting 1 night or longer. In other words, admissions. However, another study conducted in Canada states that even though the Omicron variant is milder than Delta, it could still be much worse than the Delta variant. Early modeling using South African data indicates that Omicron is significantly outpacing Delta with an effective reproduction value of more than 3. If Omicron's reproduction rate is much higher than that of Delta, then it means more hospitalizations and more deaths.
At a time when many industries are increasing prices, there are some who look at things in a more humane manner. News First came across one such individual in Colombo today.
Recently, following the fuel price hike, the three-wheeler drivers, represented by their unions, decided to increase the base fare from 50 to 80 rupees. This price hike directly impacted many who use three-wheelers, commonly known as tuks, to commute to and from Colombo. However, there are some who have decided not to go for the price hike, and this is one of them.
මම නම් වැඩි කරලා නැහැ. මගේ ෆෝන් එකේ තියෙන මීටර එක 50-40යි. කිලෝමීටර් 10ක් ගියා නම් 480 තමයි එන්නේ ඉතින්. සාධාරණ කරනවා ජනතාව දුක් වෙනවනේ ඔබ වැඩි කරලා මොනා කරන්නද? රජය මාරු වෙන්න ඕනේ එච්චරයි.
Similar experiences were shared by netizens on multiple social media platforms, highlighting the humane nature and their surprise to the response by some drivers who have decided not to increase their base price amidst the fuel price hike. Senitha Senanayaka, News First, Colombo.
The Queen's Baton for the 2022 Commonwealth Games is to be brought to Sri Lanka. A media briefing was held at the auditorium of the National Olympic Committee.
The Queen's Baton will be taken across 72 countries ahead of the 22nd Commonwealth Games that will begin in England on the 28th of July next year. The baton will be brought to Sri Lanka on the 3rd of January. Arrangements will be made to accept the baton at the Independence Square in Colombo. It will be taken across several parts of Sri Lanka, including Kandy, until the 6th of next month.
For individual events, we have decided to only select athletes who can win. There are some team sports in which they are unable to win medals despite gaining qualification. They assume that they will be allowed to compete because they have qualified. The final edition will be held on the 31st of January. It's unfortunate that the team was selected 1 month before the event. Therefore, I decided that this can't continue. We selected pools 6 months earlier. Athletes will be drafted into the team from these pools.
The 20th National and 9th Junior Archery Championships concluded this evening.
The 20th National Archery Championships and the 9th Junior Archery Championships were organized by the Sri Lanka Archery Association. Laila Suleiman won gold in the girls 60-meter cadet event at the Junior Championships, while Taruni Samarakodi won silver in the same event. KPA Imesha from the Sri Lanka Air Force won the women's 70-meter open championship. Chandana Abegunasekara from Sri Lanka Police went on to win the championship in the men's 70-meter category.
We leave you with the final minute segment on our bulletin tonight, focusing on the gas explosions in Sri Lanka. For the News First team, I'm Sandra Ferdinando. Thank you very much for joining us. Do take care, stay safe, and good night.
Unsafe gas cylinders are still circulating among the people. 2 gas-related explosions had occurred at Varakapola and the load reading to Sri Pada.